we're here for this year's Halloween Plymouth videos, and I think we're going to call it Legends, Lore, and Literature of the Plymouth area. I think that's what we're going to call it. You'll know, because you'll see the title. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet. I'm just guessing. But anyways, we're going to start off real slow and easy, and the first story location I'm going to tell you about is actually confused as a haunted location. It's not haunted in any way at all. And I was originally going to make this as a hiking video, but when I went to this location, it turned out to not be much of a hike. It was actually just a few feet off the side of the road, so it didn't turn out to be a hiking video. And I figured I'd save it for now. So I was really I'd seen these pictures of a rock called Sacrifice Rock, and I've heard of that. But I had some confusion, especially when I went to look for it, because there actually turns out to be several other rocks in the area known as Sacrifice Rock, so it's a little confusing. But the one I wanted to see the most was also called Chamber Rock, and it's an enormous boulder with a chamber that you can walk right into, and it's actually in Bourne. Now, there are two rocks known as Sacrifice Rock, and those are in Plymouth on Old Sandwich Road, and I've visited those also, and you'll see that location at the end of the video. But even though these rocks are all called Sacrifice Rock, which sounds a little creepy, it's not human sacrifice. Even though a number of articles I looked at mentioned legends of human sacrifice, and that's all these articles would say. It wouldn't go into any detail or give me any references. It just would say that. And as the Cape Cod Times said in a photo article on March 23rd, 2020, there are extremely murky legends out there about long ago human sacrifices at the rock, but it would be wise to take that with a big grain of salt. And that's because they're absolute fiction. Pure 100% tall tales of the past that aren't true. So I had to look really hard to find where these tales were coming from, and I read some really ridiculous folklore. But the most interesting legend I found on it was actually published in the Massachusetts Archaeological Society Special Bulletin of 1952, written by Howard Torrey, called Indian Rocks of Cape Cod. And his writing on the Bourne Sacrifice Rock / Chamber Rock was at the very end of this book, the last 3 pages, and that's actually all I read of the book. Even though it's the special bulletin, it's not really a book, it's a special bulletin. It looks like it would be interesting, and I think I might go back and read it at some point. But if you want to read it, it's available in PDF to read online at several locations, and I'll have a link for you in the description. I can't read you the story for several reasons. One, it's not really a story I want to tell, I don't think. I don't think it's really respectful. And 2, it says all over this PDF, don't copy in any form, so I don't want to take a chance of reading you the whole story. But I will quote for you from the article on the rock itself and how it was formed. So Sacrifice Rock lies slightly over a 1/4 of a mile west of Herring River, a short distance in an old woods road that leads off of a highway at northerly foot of Signal Hill on the so-called Indian lands. It is an enormous flat-topped granite boulder, some 25 feet long and 17 feet wide, split lengthways into 2 main portions which stand erect, separated by a crevice wide enough to pass through. The top of each of these parts, except where the surface is scaled off, is smoothed away to the edge, and the late Nathan Bourne Hartford of Bournedale told the writer that early settlers found the rock top smooth, even smoother than now. So this Nathan Bourne Hartford is the one who relays the whole legend later, which is it's quite a long legend. But Torrey here goes on and says, it is plain that the explanation of this condition is not used by Indians because smoothness extends to the very edge. Moreover, soil around the rock contains nothing to indicate use unless it is occasional pieces of charcoal which could very well have resulted from forest fires. Thus it may be said that archaeological evidence is nil. The obvious explanation is that the boulder traveled slowly southward embedded in the last glacial ice sheet, and the cavern, or chamber, was formed from shock, and then it widened gradually, affected by frost conditions. So in other words, he says, geological agencies are definitely responsible, and it wasn't supernatural occurrences that caused the cavern, as according to the legend that he goes on to relay. Now, I've seen it listed on walks to take, in October as a spooky location. I don't quite understand. I almost think the authors of the articles didn't actually go to it because, as I said, it's only just a couple feet into the woods. And it doesn't feel spooky. I went alone, and it was kind of a cloudy, gloomy day. I just felt kind of amazed by it. It was way bigger than I was expecting. And, okay, so the one spooky thing about it, I wanted really bad to go into that chamber, but it was full of spider webs and spiders, and that's spooky, thinking about crawling into there with all the spiders. I might go back in winter, though, or something, and go in, because I wanted to walk in there. The spiders, though. But I did climb up on top, and it's a lot of fun. So I really recommend it, and anyone could walk to it, because as I said, there's plenty of room to park on the side of the road, and then it's just a few feet into the woods there. So it's definitely something to see, in my opinion. If you're in the area, you should definitely check it out. I saw some people in reviews of the location kind of say they were disappointed, so I don't know, maybe they were expecting a hike like me, but I don't know how you could be disappointed with the rock itself. It's pretty, I mean, I don't know. You'd be more disappointed with Plymouth Rock than Chamber Rock. Chamber Rock, I think, is what people imagine Plymouth Rock to be the size of. So luckily, we have these other two rocks in Plymouth known as Sacrifice Rock, and this could possibly give us a clue as to why the one in Bourndale also has this name. Now, in May 14th, 1753, Reverend Gideon Hawley was on a journey, and he wrote in his journal, and this is what he had to say, and he mentions Sacrifice Rock in Plymouth. Mr. Butler obtained for us an Indian guide to conduct us across Torrey, about 16 miles south through a wilderness. We went up the creek. Our path was obscured and obstructed, and the traveling uncomfortable. We came to a resting place and breathed our horses, and slacked our thirst at the stream, when we perceived our Indian looking for a stone, which having found, he cast to a heap, which for ages had been accumulating by passengers like him, who was our guide. We inquired why he observed that rite. His answer was that his father practiced it, and enjoined him on it. But he did not like to talk on the subject. I have observed in every part of the country, and among every tribe of Indians, and among those where I now am in particular manner, such heaps of stones or sticks collected on the like occasion as above. The largest heap I have ever observed is the large collection of small stones on the mountain between Stockbridge and Great Barrington. We have a sacrifice rock, as it is termed, between Plymouth and Sandwich, to which stones and sticks are always cast by Indians who pass it. The custom or rite is an acknowledgment of an invisible being. We may style him the unknown God whom this people worship. This heap is his altar. The stone that is collected is the oblation of the traveler, which, if offered with a good mind, may be as acceptable as a consecrated animal. So that's really interesting. So that was probably the same thing at the Chamber Rock was done as at the Sacrifice Rock on Old Sandwich Road. So if you want to visit Plymouth Sacrifice Rock, you can. And it's actually a historic landmark owned by the Antiquarian Society. And if you visit their website, you can read all about it, but I'll just read you the first paragraph from their website. Everyone knows Plymouth Rock, but how many have visited Plymouth's other historic rock? Sacrifice Rock on Old Sandwich Road is the Antiquarian Society's oldest and perhaps least known historic site. Centuries before the arrival of English settlers to this area, this ancient landmark was an important stop to Wampanoag wayfarers. Travelers left small branches or stones atop the rock, perhaps to receive the blessing of safe passage. The full meaning of the custom is shrouded in time. And it was mentioned in the past, like 100 or so years ago in the past, in a lot of travel books. There's the Ancient Landmarks of Plymouth from 1887, which they quote on their webpage, and I saw a couple others mentioning that it was a stop tourists should make, but it seems to have been forgotten by time. And I will say the Chamber Rock is a lot more impressive, but definitely you should go make a stop at Sacrifice Rock on Old Sandwich Road. It's really interesting to see. So I'll see you next week, probably Sunday, possibly Monday, for the story of when the spirit of Edgar Allan Poe would visit Plymouth. So I hope to see you for that one. Thanks for watching.
If you see this ghoul, play it cool.